Your environment make you feel like you was born crazy. Always felt different, illuminated every day for being diligent. I'm just a stranger in the strange land visiting. Famine of the word, a lack of food for thought. Avoiding these devils and these fiery darts. Be a doer of the word, I call it applied knowledge. Hearts waxing cold, stone solid. We the precious gold, yeah, the law should shine. Deeply rooted, cause his words is so divine. Congregation of the dead, my people walking blind. Gotta pull it down, I can't play around. Cause your life could be confiscated. Do the work, no contemplating. What you do on the frequent becomes your frequency. Don't wanna hear I never knew you, please remember me. Don't wanna hear I never knew you, please remember me. We came too far to hold us down. We them lost tribes that been found. Gotta be a lion in a world full of wolves. Gotta count the joy when it ain't all good. We came too far to hold us down. We them lost tribes that been found. Gotta be a lion in a world full of wolves. Gotta count the joy when it ain't all good. Keep the thoughts of a priest. Keep enduring in the belly of the beast. Warrior-minded, but first seek peace. Have it like a faith, like a city under siege. If you ever need a reason, just breathe. In the valley of the dry bones, build your anatomy. This place gon' burn like calories. Trying to hit the right keys to the rhythm of my life. You get a hold of wisdom, better hold it tight. We the children of the light, yeah. My race not a color, I'm an Israelite. My race not a color, I'm an Israelite. Came too far to hold us down. We them lost tribes that been found. Gotta be a lion in a world full of wolves. Gotta count the joy when it ain't all good. We came too far to hold us down. We them lost tribes that been found. Gotta be a lion in a world full of wolves. Gotta count the joy when it ain't all good.
This is a prepaid collect call from an inmate at Florida Correctional Institution. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
What's good with it, Kang? Hey, man, what's good, bro? How you feeling, man? Man, I'm all right. How you doing in there, Kang? I'm fucked up right now, bro. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get up out of here, man. Man, you know, your time is coming. Your time is coming, man. You just got to be patient, you know? I hear you, bro. It's hard, bro. I'm going through so much up in here, man. Niggas trying to kill me in here, man. Man, you know, one thing I'll say, man, you just got to pray to the Lord, man, and ask the Lord to guide you, you know, because it's getting real in these last days, you know? Yeah, man, I'm going to try that, man. I've been chopping up with some of these Israelite brothers in here, man. They been giving my spirits up.
No complaining, level up and choose life, yeah. When you know better, you gotta do right, yeah. Pressure make diamonds shining on sight, yeah. Trying to dim your light, battle tested for the fight, yeah. When you fall, you get right back up. Renew your mind and break off those cuffs. Had to make do when you didn't have enough. You gotta choose life, embracing what's tough, yeah.
All the life moments, either this or that. Gotta choose. You can make a home and be a missing hat. Came to throwing to play with Chrome, going click and clack. Ain't no kicking back, the niggas going tit for tat. It took my cousin's life, but they ain't gon' give it back. He was the godchild, used to rap and called him scrap. Ain't no question if you flexing, he ain't go for that. So how you think that shaped my mind to grow up knowing that? Ain't no whole rap, nigga, nah, slow for that. Just to keep my focus where it's hopeful at. That's why I'm preaching on the corners where the dope is at. I had to go through that to teach you how to cope with that. We all got a time, we don't never know exact. We don't fear find a moment even knowing that. But choose life is a blessing, that's a potent fact. Believe in stress, it's life a present, go and open that.
No complaining, level up and choose life, yeah. When you know better, you gotta do right, yeah. Pressure make diamonds shining on sight, yeah. Trying to dim your light, battle tested for the fight, yeah. When you fall, you get right back up, yeah. Renew your mind and break off those cuffs. Had to make do
didn't have enough. You gotta choose life, embracing what's tough, yeah.
How could it happen that we suffer in a strange land? This resurrection is eternal, this the game plan. So many people wish that I would stay the same man. Lord, give me strength so that I can help the lame stand. I choose life, that's every time, even in the face of death. This revolution got us clocked and that's on every step. I choose life cause this the way we know it's always been. They drop the plow, them niggas nerds, you better not follow them. For me and mine, we made our choices to the end of days. This life we live will make us pay for walking crooked ways. And when it's over, crown my head with this the other side. Cause I'll be healed of all my pain from watching loved ones die. Jerusalem, we dropped the ball, but now we waking up. It's every scheme that's put in motion meant for shaking us. High exalted warriors, protectors of the weak. Dry your eye, God's children, cause this earth is for the meek.
No complaining, level up and choose life, yeah. When you know better, you gotta do right, yeah. Pressure make diamonds shining on sight, yeah. Tryna dim your light, battle tested for the fight, yeah. When you fall, you get right back up. Renew your mind and break off those cuffs. Had to make do when you didn't have enough. You gotta choose life, embracing what's tough, yeah.
Afflictions of the righteous, but the Most High will deliver us from them all. Don't that sound familiar? Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not unto thine own understanding. Acknowledge him in all thy ways, and he shall direct thy path. He shall direct thy path. And he shall direct thy path. Don't that sound familiar?
Through the slavery captivity, All right, all right. Shalom to everyone. Shalom to those in the chat. Shalom to those coming in. It definitely is a beautiful song. All praises to the sis Shira. All praises. All right. You guys see the title to the lesson. Work and produce. I'm going to go back into a parable I had gone into a way while back pertaining to something Christ had gone into to speak on behalf of the kingdom of heaven and the rewards and what a man will reap for his labor that he is hired for. We know, according to the scriptures, that we are ambassadors of Christ and we were called to bring forth fruit and that it may remain. And what we have to understand is that if that was then, that is very much the same in the case now. So with that being understood, we need to take into consideration how the parable is, or parables of Yahawashi are ever going and ever folding, and the manifold wisdoms that are to be applied from what it is that we read and what he left behind for us. So we have to take into consideration that every time that we read and open the scriptures, it's not ever going to be read in the same manner as before. Shalom, brother Ganon. Ayan Debarsis, it's not a problem. Yo, Zaquan, man. Yo. So, again, with that being said, we don't read scriptures once and then come back to them with the same understanding. You know, that's why we also reference the scriptures as the living word, right? And that's why we know that everything we read about, everything we go into, everything we take note of, there's always some deeper meaning and some deeper way of understanding something on another level pertaining to what you may have not seen it there the first time or second time you read it. You know, we've all been there. We've all had that experience. Sis Azar, shalom, sis. Shalom. So with that being said, we're going to go into Matthew chapter 20. If you guys remember the previous class I had taught on this was the parable of the hired laborers that Yahawashi had given. All right, so Matthew chapter 20 and verse 1, again, the parable of the hired laborers. It says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard." So, of course, Yahawashi reveals at, the end, he is, of course, the man that is hiring the laborers, and he is the one that is overseeing the vineyard, right? Verse 2, and when it says, "And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And he went out about the third hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went their way. And he went about the 6th and 9th hour and did likewise. And about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle, and saith unto them, Why stand ye here all the day idle? They say unto him, Because no man had hired us. He saith unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that ye shall receive. So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard saith unto his steward, Call the laborers and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first." Now, why do I go into this, and why do I bring it up again? Work and produce is ever going. How we were created is very much it is the perfect prototype example of the earth. Everything that the earth is what we are. The seasons, agriculture, how things change and maneuver all throughout the times we live in very much reflect our own lives and our own creation. We are not ever the same throughout every point in our life. The earth is not the same in spring. The earth is not the same in summer. The earth is not the same in fall or autumn. And the earth is not the same in winter and in the really cold season. So With that being said and understood, we have to realize and understand that we are the same way. To our 20s and 30s, maybe mid 30s, early 40s, we are in the prime of our life. We are on, per se, the climax of our being, and then everything goes on the decline from there. Your hormones, your primary hormones for women, estrogen, and also progesterone, and for us as men, testosterone, which declines every year after a certain age at a particular percentage rate. These laborers that were hired into the vineyard were hired throughout all times of the day because the householder was looking for laborers to work into his vineyard. So with that being said, there was always work to do, which is the point of the parable. It doesn't matter what day or what hour of the day it is. And with that being understood and said, we have to realize and understand ourselves that it is the same way in our lifetime now. There's always work to be done. There's always something to do. And if you're not doing anything, then it very much is a problem. And you should find that to be a problem and not take offense to it. Because in school, if your teacher asks you, what are you doing? You said nothing. Well, your teacher is asking you and getting on you because that's the problem. You're not doing anything when there's work to do. Not when you finish your work, but you're not doing the work that you're supposed to. Well, it's the same aside this enlightenment and then this walk. There is always something to do. Not all the work is physical and outward and external, but rather more becoming a new creature in Christ in the work ever unfolding and ever going. It is internal as well, and there's always work to be done. Hey, listen, man. We're doing everything we can to keep up and maintain our levels. Listen, Yasaf, no shade thrown to you, man. And that goes for everybody else. But again, I bring this up to say we're doing everything we can to continue to work and produce no matter what age bracket we're in, I'll say. And just because you may be older doesn't mean that you don't have a job and a responsibility, but it doesn't also disclude the fact that you can be doing something is the point. You know, do not think that just because you're the pinky toe, you don't have a function. Do not think that just because you may be the index finger, you don't have a function. Because you may be the ear, you're not important. You know, we all have functions. Everything functions when you look at the creation of everything that we are as humans. Your eyelashes, your eyebrows, your nose, your lips, your ears, your hair, everything. So I bring up this parable because it's important to understand that we are those laborers. We all came in at different times. We all came in from different walks of life. And more importantly, we are all different age brackets. We are a school, we are an organization, but we emphasize the importance of brotherhood because we are supposed to enact being a family. After all, we're supposed to be, and why wouldn't we be considering we're 12 tribes? As the brother Yasaf said, Israelite blood is different. Absolutely. So with us realizing that, we are all the laborers hired at different times. And guess what? We may not be doing the same amount of work, but the point of it is every single laborer is doing the work. If those laborers are doing the work, then we are supposed to be as well. We are these same laborers is the point of this parable. And this was a response to the disciples when they asked, well, we've given up everything. What will we receive, you know, when the kingdom is to come? And he gave this parable to explain someone could be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years on in. Someone that could just be coming in the first 6 months to a year could be at a different rate or different pace, working and showing much more enthusiasm and zealousness in the work than somebody that's been in this for over 5 to 10 to maybe 15 years. And to show you they still reap the kingdom, which is the same reward you'll be getting. All of our works are going to be put through the fire, as the Captain Yahawashi put in his last class, you know, about 1 Corinthians chapter 3. And you want your you want your work to come out as one of the metals, gold, silver, and precious stones. Wood, hay, and stubble is going to be burned up, showing you did absolutely nothing. And you did very little and minimum while you were here. You want to have your works come out refined, because all of our works are going to be refined by the fire, right? So this parable is very important because we are those laborers. I want you guys to keep that in mind, and not just that. Remember that all of us come in at different times of the day, but everybody is doing the work. Everybody is doing something. Everybody. So the householder hired different laborers at different times of the day, showing no matter the hour or time they came in, there was always work to do. Not only for the same price were they all hired, but the timing of each man is different, and it shows that the harvest is always plenteous. Right. We definitely should know this scripture, Matthew chapter 9 and verse 36. Yahawashi, it says, but when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them, because they fainted and were scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd. Then saith he, Yahawashi, unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. So look at it this way. Because where do you harvest at? The field. Yahawashi said the field is the world in Matthew 13 in one of the parables that he was speaking to. And we are scattered as God's people across the four corners of the planet. Now, the majority and the bulk of the 12 tribes is here in America, but that doesn't mean that there aren't remnants of us in different parts of the universe, of the earth, excuse me. And I emphasize that because us being scattered, especially during the colonial and exile era, we are everywhere. And you know, the different camps that there are and the different Israelites groups that there are and camps that there are across the planet, they're calling our people home to wake up to who they really are. And the importance of that is that it shows that the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few, being that the work that there is to do outnumbers the people that are doing the work. The amount of work that there is to do outnumbers the people that there are to do the work. I'm sure every single one of you, though, I know all of you have had a job or an experience where you've had to clean up the slack of other people, and you've had to pick up behind people and do double, triple, probably even quadruple the workload. That is not supposed to be the case, because this ambassadorship of us being disciples and followers and believers of Yahawashi is to be is to not be the same as that, because we are supposed to be carrying one another's burdens. That's why Paul gave the breakdown of the body, and that's why Yahawashi gave his body for the church. The church is not just one person. He's the head of the church that then gave the leadership over it to Peter, but it wasn't just Peter, it was the other 11 disciples. And the point of that is that it just shows it's multiple groups of people, but functioning as one unit. And the emphasis I create on that is that the burden is not supposed to be on one or a couple of individuals alone. It's on that group of men that are supposed to be sharing that responsibility together. So I say that because the amount of work that there is to do, we need more laborers to come into the harvest. This parallels with Matthew chapter 20. Because we are supposed to have more laborers that are supposed to be hired, that are supposed to be working and putting their hands to the plow just as we are. They are no different from us, no matter what time they come in. They are supposed to be cultivated. They are supposed to be brought up, of course, and they are supposed to come through the ranks. But what matters is that we have more laborers, which is the point of the parable. Everyone's hand should be building in the kingdom. It does include everyone, absolutely. Just had my end of year review. My numbers equated to 4 other recruiters in my office, but I work as if I'm doing it to amplify the Most High. Absolutely, absolutely. You one person doing the work of 4 people combined. Isn't that something? You know, the worst part is when you're a hard worker, because every single one of you know, every one of you know that the hardworking people that go out of their way are always the ones taken advantage of, and the ones that slack and aren't picking up the pace, and the ones that aren't hardworking aren't even really paid attention to. Like if you're ever absent, if you're that hardworking person and you've ever been absent from work, and then you come back to work after you either calling out, you took a vacation, you were sick, you had an emergency or something, and then you come back and one of your coworkers, your supervisor, your boss is like, yo, I'm glad you're back, man. Oh, man, it was terrible when you were gone. Or somebody decided to like, finally, this person's back. Sheesh, I've been waiting. And it's like, you don't even interpret that as a good thing. You just know you're about to clean up after everybody else, and no one was picking up they slack while you were gone. Nobody could do the job as you did while you were working because you equate to 2, 3, or more people. And now that you're back, finally, we can relax. This guy's back again, man. Damn. It's just like Yeshaya said in one of his classes, nobody could disagree that when you're doing your job, no one can do it like you can do. Because when we put forth our hands to work and effort, we do it. We built this damn country. We built the White House, which is the official home of the president. What can we not do that's not overbearing as to what we did during the days of colonialism? So, we're not supposed to be doing that within this truth and this enlightenment. Like, take, for example, the sisters that come together to prepare the food and during high holy days and feast days, they come together to cook and make food and prepare the feast for everyone. Well, imagine that just being on 1 or 2 sisters. That's not right and that's not fair. And I'm not, throwing shade or trying to purposely speak out on anyone. But the point of it is, imagine what the power women have and the sisters have when they come together and do it. The sisters can cook. Now imagine the diversities of gifts together in unison. That's the point. It's not supposed to be on one person. Like imagine if the right arm and the right leg don't want to function and move with the other half of the body, where you're only doing or can get done of half the work. But if the body is functioning together, if everything is accordingly in unison, it will work out. Exactly. They always fall behind when you're not there. Yep. Exactly. Ganant. The water to the sisters who make garments and cook, etc. for our feast days. And we have to pay attention to that because we need to give respect and we need to give praise and credit where it's due for the sisters that really work hard behind the scenes. They're just important as we are when it comes to nation building. We know that the first teacher of children is the woman. She breastfeeds. She takes care of the child. She raises up and rears the child, and the child is primarily in the woman's care because she is supposed to have that mother-child connection to rear and raise up the child properly. Like the mother in Maccabees, how she said that she brought up her son with very much trouble. It's not easy, but we need to give the proper respect and credit where it's due when it comes to sisters and when it comes to childbearing, right? So the reason why I bring that up again is to show that there's much, much work to be done. But it's not supposed to be overloaded and be on the shoulders of just one individual and one person. Now, I do want to get into the fact that with the earth and what I'm going to get into later on within the lesson is that the earth being in the different seasons that it's in, for you guys down there, we were talking about the last class, we were laughing, kind of approaching the winter season. Or no, we're in the winter season. I'm not sure right now, how it is for you guys, but rain and it's feeling cool. It's higher in the degrees now for us up here at headquarters. Is currently where we're at. I know you brothers down south, especially brothers and sisters in Florida, talking about it's winter down there and it's only 60 degrees, man. But again, to reflect the different seasons that we're in, I say that to say there are different times and things to do within the seasons of the earth. And right now, with it being winter season, and then comes in spring, which corresponds with for all the 4 seasons, it corresponds with 3 months. So for spring, March, April, May, summer, June, July, August, fall or autumn, September, October, November, winter, December, January, February, and then the cycle restarts all over again. Now, listen, man, I'm not really hearing too much because when you guys are complaining about it being winter and then it's above 50 degrees, maybe 60 degrees, it's like you guys are right by the equator. So you technically can still wear short sleeves outside. It's just windy. But the wind up here, entirely different animal up here. When David said in Psalms, who could withstand the Lord's cold? I don't think do you guys even get snow down there? The sun's out, it's just windy. Kwame, you know it's warm out. It'd be cool down there for you. I'm talking about cold. Y'all cold down there is not the cold up here, man. If it ain't snowing down there, I'm not really hearing too much. But now you remember that time that you sent me that picture of the sun and the palm trees, and I told you we were stuck in the storm. It was gray outside and it was snowing. But now I'll never forget. I was so upset that day in my spirit. I was vexed. Oh, Chicago. See, Illinois, that's because Illinois is right around the rivers, and then north of it's Canada. So if it's cold out there, yeah, definitely. Oh, Makaya is from New York. So Makaya, you know already. You know already. All right. But again, talking about the seasons, everything within the earth changes. And right now we've been we're shifting right now. As I said, it's been spring here lately. I know something is going on. See, that's the thing, says we don't know because of the bipolar weather patterns we have. It's raining right now, but it was sunny before. We had the flurries of that. We don't know what's happening. The earth is off its axis. We don't know right now. Exactly, come on. Their winter requires a windbreak. They're gonna be all right, man. Remember, it snowed last year. Oh, okay. So it does then. Shalom, the good sir Lamad's in the building. Shalom. But again, with these seasons we're in, right? The earth is off its course. It's out of its balance. So we can't even fully accurately say what season we're in, right? So with that being said, this scripture here, Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. Now, I say that because the General Shamak had mentioned that throughout the year, different fruits and vegetables grow all year round. He had mentioned kale, I believe it was, grows in the winter. And I also say that because I'm actually going to show all of you with an article, and again later on with the pictures I have, to show how all different fruits grow throughout the year and how important that is, because it's not just one year predominantly all the fruits grow. It's beautiful to see the diversity of the Most High and understand his geniusness, because at different times of the year you can have different fruits and different vegetables. So from the very beginning, everything was made and fashioned perfectly. So let's get that in Genesis chapter 1. In Genesis chapter 1 and verse 30, it says, "And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat." And it was so. And God saw everything that he hath made, and behold, it was very good. In the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So everything that the Lord created from the very beginning was good. Everything that the Lord had made and created was rightfully and properly so in its season and place. In Genesis chapter 8 and verse 22, this is after the account of the flood in the time of Noah. Genesis chapter 8 and 22 says, "While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, in cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease." So from the very beginning of time, since the flood up until this very current and present moment, we still have that same cycle. It's never stopped. It's ever going and ever continuing. So we have to understand that just as that's the case, the Lord set times and seasons for all things and occurrences in life. The earth has distinct seasons, natural, seasonal, agricultural, and yes, even spiritual, that all carry deeper meanings. There's a time for everything, which includes the reaping of the fruits of the produce. The earth and humans have been made in a like manner. So we have to understand that because we are both mirrored in our creation. The Lord made the earth and everything that is in therein, and he made us in his image, and we are exactly alike. So with that being said, in agriculture, working year-round is crucial for consistent food supply, economic stability, resource efficiency, and here are key reasons why. So now, allow me to show and share with all of you the key reasons about agriculture and why, with us being a shepherd people or a shepherded people, why agriculture is not just important to us, but the emphasis and need for it pertaining to the earth. So for food security, a growing population needs consistent food, and it's a necessity to have year-round production. So if all of you remember the account in Genesis, remember when Joseph was governor over Egypt, after the king had placed his ring on him and told him, you are now in charge of the storehouses and over all of Egypt, which is actually all of the world at that point, that Joseph had overseeing over. And there were going to be the 7 years of prosperity and the 7 years of famine. So within those 7 years, and Joseph being governor over Egypt, he stored up everything. He put it in the storehouses, and the people during the 7 years of famine would come down and purchase the corn and purchase the crops, so on and so forth, of whatever they needed. I say this because with Egypt being an empire at that point in the earth and being over the multiple nations that it was, this was needed for the food security, as is reason stated and listed, for the millions of people that Egypt had hegemony and authority over at this particular time period. Provision is another reason. It provides raw materials and supports employment and labor in food service and related businesses. Also for health, Salakia. In the winter, planting covers crops will protect soil from erosion and builds up fertility for spring. There's also pest management. Continuous management reduces reliance on chemicals and other artificial sources. All of you know, and all of you should know, Monsanto, I believe California ships out and imports to the rest of the states pertaining to food and produce, everything pertaining to that. And all of you should know that everything we pretty much eat is sprayed and tainted with chemicals to preserve the freshness of what we're eating. This is why, they say to rinse off the fruits before you eat them, or as some people do. I was even speaking to a lady about it. You soak them in baking soda to get the bacteria off of the fruit so that you may eat it freshly instead of eating it tainted with the chemicals. And what was it called? Is it DDP? That was another pesticide and chemical sprayed on crops. Atrazine, a chemical that was found in weed it was discovered in an experiment by a black doctor named Tyrone B. Hayes that inserted atrazine into frogs to see what atrazine would do to the frogs. And three things happened, being that the frogs mated more and associated more with the male frogs, becoming completely homosexual. The male frogs grew female genitalia, becoming complete hermaphrodites and being both sexes, and they were literally transgender. And then the male frogs also completely became the female frogs. So they literally became transgender frogs, outright becoming females due to the overload of estrogen and what atrazine was chemically doing to the frogs in the experiment. So these things are sprayed over the food we eat. and then they're passed out and sold in grocery stores. Like, take, for example, what was it? You guys all been in the grocery store. You see that the water is spraying down on, the kale or the produce, vegetables, and stuff like that. They're doing that for a reason, to keep it fresh. That's what DDT. That's what it was. Khan. Banya Howard Thwada. Glyphosate is another one. Wax on apple. I actually forgot about that. Yeah, wax on apples is another one. Yep. So we need to be careful. We need to be aware of that. Going into agriculture, this is another reason for maintaining the management. If someone's lazy or if they found a less laborious way of doing it, they'll use and take the easier route, but not realize the long-term cost and effect of what taking the easier route will do to those that are consuming whatever it is being sold pertaining to the fruits, vegetables, crops, anything that's sold, so on and so forth. With that being said, the water to the brother again for putting in the chat. A lot of Issacharites work those farms and other tribes of the Northern Kingdom that work particularly in farming in the agricultural sector that are around those chemicals all day. And there was a study and something I had heard and read years back that said over a time period and a time span, their testosterone, it was pertaining to the men, but their testosterone levels had not only sufficiently decreased, it was also going to make those men, I believe it was Mexican men, pertaining to the study, because Issachar is heavy out there. Mexico is literally right to the south. Pertaining to the Mexican men that were working in the agricultural sector and in those fields, a lot of them were on the verge of, I think they put it on a percentage scale of 40 to 50% of becoming completely infertile because of what the chemicals inside the crops and spraying everything. You guys have seen the videos of what that's doing to them over time. They will become infertile and not be able to reproduce and have children. That's how terrible it is. But that's what happens when you're spraying the crops and you're using, artificial means to preserve your produce and what you're planning to sell and import to customers and people that have needs and desires to eat what it is that's being produced. This is the long-term cost and effects of it. God, absolutely. Chemtrails still very much are still in the air, and they very much do taint the soil. Absolutely. It definitely is frustrating because it's the sad part is it's us that suffer for it, and it's us that literally are the ones that are being experimented on. And then when they realize it, they don't really do anything about it. Says Amaya said, my dad had problems. My grandfather passed away from cancer because they worked making those pesticides. They worked in a greenhouse, and this was years ago, of course. The sad part is that if you went forward with this and wanted it to be in a lawsuit, it wouldn't just expose them for everything they're doing. They would find a way to put it under wraps or to somehow circumnavigate and go around it and still do what they're doing as they're doing today. Florida's citrus farms and strawberry farms are terrible. Oh, man. Oh, man. Critical windows. Another reason. Farming includes non-negotiable timeframes for planting, nurturing, and harvesting. So missing your windows can ruin an entire season, which is necessary, especially during the harder months, one of them being winter, when it starts to get colder. So there are also off-season tasks that are also to be done and performed in agriculture. Those of you that plant, those of you that are in this particular field, I forgot what the term was, but there are also off-season tasks predominantly performed during the winter that are important as well. You have soil testing, amending, and cover cropping. You have repairing and maintaining machinery, tools, and other equipment. Planning and organizing for the next season. and managing livestock. So all while you're doing this, you still have to take care of all your animals. Now, to bring this full circle, why am I bringing all this up? It's to show how much there is to do with agriculture in the field. And the point, again, why I emphasize this and why this is important is because the parables of Yahawashi link to this, showing just how much of a busy job it is. Yahawashi was first and foremost a teacher, but he was also a healer and a physician. He was also someone that prayed. He was also someone that taught his disciples. He was also someone that even spoke and had to teach his own enemies. Yahawashi had multifaceted many offices aside from the greatest one being a teacher. And yes, he also fed the people as well. So there's multiple things to do as we are all laborers in this harvest. That's why he said, again, which is what I'm emphasizing here with agriculture and going into it, the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. And with what I've said here, there's a lot of work to do when it comes to agriculture and farming, but the laborers have to put forth their plows to work. Now, why is all of this important? All of this is important because it's constant, it's seasonal, never ending, and it's ever going. Your life individually is just like the earth. It's ever going. Until you are done, which means you are past and your ghost is, your spirit has been given up unto the Most High, you are then done. But just like the earth, in the death of one season comes another. That's why Ecclesiastes 3:1 said, there's a time and a purpose to everything and every season under the heaven. Absolutely, Ganon. You can't be too high-minded regardless of position to the lowest of work. And that's an excellent point because we all have work to do. It doesn't matter what the job is. When you're at camp, if you're holding a poster, if you're holding post, if you're reading, or you're the teacher, or you're the brother off to the side to kind of, get people to, come build with the brother, come hear the word. Brothers have the way of trying to get a brother or a sister or whoever, to come on down and listen to brothers teach. There's always some way you can fit in. Brothers do flyer missions. Don't think that that's not any more or any less important than camp. You're still doing the job. You're still working. All right. So, the 2 Peter 1:10, which is our next scripture. Second Peter chapter 1 and verse 10 says, wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if ye do these things, ye shall never fail. Now, this is important because as believers in Yahawashi, we should actively be working to confirm our salvation. We should be actively working to confirm our salvation, not passively assuming it would just be ours. According to verses 5-7, before we got to verse 10, it lists the virtues to be diligently applied and not stumble to not stumble and fall away. This is where stability comes in. In modern terminology, what Peter is saying in 2 Peter 1:10 is, since God called you to work hard to make sure you're truly chosen by adding the godly listed qualities to your life so you never fall away. I'm actually going to do now, right? I'm going to read 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 10. Second Peter chapter 1 and verse 10 in the GNT. It says, so then, my friends, try even harder to make God's call and his choice of you a permanent experience. If you do so, you will never abandon your faith. And I'm also going to read the NLT. It says, so dear brothers and sisters, work hard to prove that you are really among those God has called and chosen. Do these things and you will never fall away. And those two particular translations, along with the KJV, cannot make it any more clear. It's also, doctrinally a cut, by the way, because you actually have to work. You have to do something. You have to show forth your faith by working. 1 Samuel 2 and 3, Samuel's mother, God is a God of action. God is a man that does things, and by your actions you will be measured out, and you will be sought out, and you will be judged by. By your actions you will be weighed. The final scripture before I get to the closing point with the pictures, right? 2 Peter chapter 4 and verse 2. It says 2 Peter. 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 2, Salaki. It says, preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. These two scriptures mirror one another because they don't just speak to you towards doing something a one time or a couple of times. It speaks to you doing it at all times. And no, it's not every single day. No, it's not, every moment that you have. When it's time to do the job, get the job done. And of course, to make it precisely more clear, 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 2 in the NLT, preach the word of God. Be prepared whether the time is favorable or not. Patiently correct, rebuke, and encourage your people with good teaching. I want to put an emphasis on be prepared whether the time is favorable or not. Now, we were laughing and stuff like that earlier, about winter and about it being cold. It's not the best feeling in the world to do to do camp in the winter. When you brothers came up here and you guys felt the New England cold and all of you went back homesick, how do you guys think we feel when you guys see the camp videos uploaded, when you see brothers debating and having dialogue with whomever it is that the brother is talking to? That's exactly what we feel during this season when we go out and the work still has to get done. Do not do the work because you're comfortable. Do the work because it has to get done. As Yahawashi that gladly could have called down that legion of angels because the Pharisees and everyone that wanted to turn him into Pilate wanted to crucify him, he gladly could have and wiped out all of humanity with just a legion of angels. But he didn't. He fulfilled the scriptures accordingly as it was written, being our sacrifice, being as a sheep led to the slaughter. It said nothing was crucified and was resurrected afterwards. We have to do the same. It doesn't matter what season it is, get the work and get the job done. Do not do it because it's convenient or because it makes you comfortable or because you can afford to do it. Do it because it's the right thing to do, which is the difficult thing to do because they're both one and the same. If it's difficult to do, it's because it's the right thing to do. If it's the right thing to do, it's because it's the difficult thing to do. And it challenges your personal comfort and challenges you to get out of what you're feeling and what you could be saying to yourself to get what you need to be done. 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 2 in the GNT. To preach the message, to insist upon proclaiming it, whether the time is right or not, to convince, reproach, and encourage as you teach with all patience. And the better part is some translations even say whether the time is convenient or not. When things are at our disconvenience, when we're pushed out of our comfort boundaries in our comfort zone, we do not like it. I'll use an example. Brothers that work out, I myself, of course, do. I'm a weightlifter. It is not comfortable to lift hundreds of pounds, but it has to get done. Some days I don't want to go to work, just as I know every single one of you don't. Well, your lights may turn off. There won't be food in the fridge. Your phone bill may get cut off. You still have to get it done. Sirach 7:15 says, hate not laborious work. We were made to labor. We were made to work. We were not made to sit by and be idle. There's a reason why since the very beginning, nations and peoples have always warred. You have to be in shape to do so. You have to exercise. You have to push your body against its comfortability and push past its boundaries. So you can't sit back and wait. You can't sit back and observe and wait for the kingdom to come. You have to work for the kingdom that's within you. Absolutely. And some of us think that just because it's within us, we don't have to work for it. No, you have to work for it. A man that don't work, he don't eat. My brother, absolutely. Absolutely. Paul said that. You don't work, you don't eat. You have to labor. Take Paul's example. And all of your Bibles, because I'm sure you guys have it, it shows you the maps of where Paul went to in all of his traveling. Paul labored. Paul labored. And that's the ancient world, but he definitely did 1,000 times more than we're doing now. Look at everywhere he went and all the work he did. Stagnation is absolutely. Don't be stagnant. You're supposed to keep your flame going. It's not going to be lit 100% all the time, but the point of it is to keep it lit enough that you see where you're going. Yahweh said, no other nation could go through what our ancestors did. We built for work since Adam, absolutely. Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, spiritual Egypt. How can we complain today? Shut up or work? Absolutely. That's why, we have the terminology get into the bag. It's what we do as people. It's what we do as God's people. No matter what era we've always been in, and no matter what time period it is, we have always been a hardworking people. All right. So, that being said, allow me to share my screen. Okay. Add to the stage. Yes, sir. All right. Now I'm sure you guys can see this. I'm going to zoom in. It is in cursive. So they have all the list of fruits and vegetables that grow at the different seasons. Spring, I'm not going to list off all of them, but you guys see this here. Spring, you got asparagus, artichoke, bok choy, broccoli, carrots. You got kale, lettuce, grapefruit, eggplant, spinach, strawberry, rhubarb, raspberries, peas. You got summer over here, asparagus, beans, broccoli, blueberries, carrots, cauliflower, celery, cherries, cucumber, peaches, peppers, plums, tomatoes, squash. Then you have the fall, apples, artichokes, avocados, beets, blackberry, dates, oranges, pears, winter squash, kale, lettuce, grapefruit. And then, of course, again, with the winter. Now, much doesn't grow during the cold, but to emphasize the importance again, as is the earth, so are we, and as are we, so is the earth. You have artichokes, beets, cabbage, carrots, chard, fennel, garlic, grapefruit, onions, parsnips, potatoes, pomegranates, pears, turnips, and winter squash. So no matter what season it is, everything pretty much has its own season where it grows. Right? Next one. Then, of course, the different months of the year, you guys see this here: broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, grapefruit, lemons, oranges. Some of it can be the same depending on the season, but, to show pretty much how much grows throughout the year, no matter what season it is, shows that the work is always being done within the earth, as the earth is revolving through the seasons and as the earth is going through its cycles. Got July. Looks like here August has the biggest list, though it may vary, of course. You got September, October, November, and then December, of course. Looks like more mushrooms are grown in the winter months. Sweet potatoes is another one I learned grows more in the winter months. Right. This one's a little more clear. Spring, March to May, bananas, blueberries, cherry, grapefruit, lemon, orange. Most of the good fruits most people like summer, June to August, apricot, fig is another one, lime, plum, pears, papaya. You have a diversity of things to look at and to look through. Then you got autumn, September to November, as I mentioned before. You got kiwi on the list. You got passion fruit. Shout out to Ephraim. Ephraim knows a lot about passion fruit. Winter, again, grapefruit. You got kiwi, lemon, orange, pomegranate. Of course, pomegranate right around the winter time, of course. And then one more. The in-season vegetable calendar. Brussels sprouts, January, February, March. These give the months of the year and the particular vegetables: kale, cauliflower, sweet potato, parsnip, celery root, cabbage, bok choy. New potatoes, you got rhubarb, bell peppers, radish, peas, green beans, chanterelles, so on and so forth. So throughout the different, forgot the bottom. So okay. You got zucchini, Swiss chard, eggplant, Jerusalem artichoke, spinach. That was one of them. And then you got pumpkin. So again, through the months of the year and throughout the different seasons, everything grows accordingly within its own time. All right. Now, this article. This is from Chelsea Green Publishing. Growing year-round profitability and tips. Farming and homesteading. And so this is what it'll look like, pretty much. You see the field, you see them preparing, you see the greenhouse. All right, so to start off the article, it says year-round vegetable growing in a cold climate can be challenging, but there is potential for significant profitability. Says cold temperatures and low light conditions can be moderated through various structures and techniques. However, to be successful in this endeavor requires an even more thorough understanding of the growing environment than developed through outdoor growing in warm weather. The development of strong, balanced soil fertility is primary in assisting crops to survive the added challenges of off-season growing, which can easily ruin crops. At Tobacco Road Farm, we work with protective structures on an acre or more of a growing area. This allows us to sell vegetables into a very hungry market at times of year when prices are potentially better because there's less sales, which means they'd go down, and profitability potential is high. The consistency of year-round production and availability is very attractive to buyers, many of whom hold this as a primary factor in their purchasing decisions. It also allows us to maximize output from the growing area, thus reducing the total area we need to farm, which keeps the cost down, as well as the workload of production is spread out over the entire season, giving everyone plenty to do throughout the year. And I will stop there. Now, why do I emphasize all that? To show that, as they've said, and those, of course, were farmers, agriculturers themselves with their own experience and their own land to till and work on, even in winter months, they're still able to make things work for their business and still be prosperous, because they would know the time accordingly that, during spring and summer, maybe fall even, everyone goes apples, pumpkins, so on and so forth. They know that they can still profit just as much in the winter season compared to the spring and summer season. And they know that if they work it and maneuver things accordingly, they can still make profits and still be profitable, because of the fact that they are still, they are still doing everything that they can to actually still make a means of living, even if it's not even the right season. Exactly. Ganon said, no matter what season it is, continue to work. And that's the whole point and the emphasis of the lesson. The laborers, when they were hired, it didn't matter at what hour they were hired at, they still came to work. No matter what season the earth is in, fruit is always being, and vegetables are always being produced. And if that's the case, then why whatever season we're in, whether it be, again, this would be corresponding to winter right now. The earth is off its axis, but technically it would be winter, the colder months, because we're not in spring. But why would we not be doing the same? We have to remember Yahawashi said that the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. You have to remember that and keep it in mind. The Lord will always answer a prayer if asked, what can I do? Because there's plenty to do. That's why he said the harvest is plenteous. When he looked on the people, he saw everything that they needed and what could be done. The Captain Yahawashi brought it out that the 70 that went out 2 and 2 every city, they told Yahawashi, even the devils are subject unto us through thy name. They were doing the work. Which means there's always work to do. And if there's always work to do, we need more laborers. It doesn't matter what hour it is, get the work done. All right. That being said, that'll conclude this class. Any questions, comments, concerns anyone has or would like to add? All right. That being said, I madyum upon Makwadam. This is Psalm chapter 119. This is Tazad. Righteous art thou, O Lord, and upright are thy judgments. Thy testimonies that thou hast commanded are righteous and very faithful. My zeal hath consumed me, because mine enemies have forgotten thy words. Thy word is very pure, therefore thy servant loveth it. I am small and despised, yet do I not forget thy precepts. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Trouble and anguish have taken hold on me, yet thy commandments are my delights. The righteousness of thy testimonies is everlasting. Give me understanding, and I shall live. In the name of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi, the Wada, Thimyad, Aman. Shalom, family. La ilaha tawab. The stream will not end.